What's going on, everyone? So the Lakers bringing in Quincy Olivari on a two-way contract was great, right? He really earned it. He really showed and balled out for the Lakers in a limited role, for one, and then finally got that opportunity, finally got a real moment to show what he could really do and put together, and he was fantastic. Right, did a little bit of everything out on the basketball court. His ability to shoot the basketball and score the basketball, I think, is going to go a long way for the Lakers. He's a guy that looks like he can make an impact right now. He looks like a guy that can actually play a role right now. However, you look at kind of the Lakers draft this season, and I actually think that they had an A-plus draft given the circumstances, right? Considering, right? Obviously, they didn't have a top 5 pick or anything like that, where, it might have been a little different, but I think given what the Lakers were able to acquire, right, and getting two guys that can have an immediate impact, and then you have two good development guys, one I think may end up being our best young guy, or has the potential to be our best young guy. I really wanted to kind of go over, talk about this year's draft and our draft picks now that in hindsight it's kind of all played out. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about Koloko. I know he's on a two-way and stuff like that, so somebody's like, oh, Koloko, we didn't draft him this year. I'm talking about just this year's draft picks. I'm not talking about Jalen Trufino or anyone else, future draft picks. I'm talking about just this year. And right off the bat, talking about Quincy and sticking with Quincy. Right? He's a guy that you can see his ability to shoot the basketball, his ability to defend at the guard position, I think is going to go a long way. He really works hard. He's hustled. He's grind his way to this spot. His age, right? Lakers have had a lot of success with the mature, older players, right? Lakers like kind of the adults in the room, that 23, 24-year-old type. Obviously, you if you have the opportunity to get that young upside player, you get that young upside player. But Lakers being in the position to where they need players that can help and have an impact now. I think Lakers got a great one in Quincy Olivari, and another one we'll talk about here in a moment. But Quincy's a guy that you could see initiating the offense. He's not a guy that I would trust right now playmaking, like being the primary ball handler. I could see him as a secondary playmaker, right? Kind of the swing man, initiate the offense, right? He's kind of that is what I'd like to see from Quincy Olivari. I'm not saying Quincy can't become that at some point, but right now, as a rookie this season, from what we've seen, right, I'd like to see him kind of continue to grow and develop on those skills, but you're not going to be asking for him to do that. You got D'Lo, you got LeBron, you got Reeves, right? Even if the Lakers make some trades, even with the offense that JJ Redick runs, Quincy's just going to be asked to initiate. You're not going to be looking for him to be a huge, we need him to be Chris Paul out there. He's going to be more initiate and then do what he does best, play off ball, create a little bit for himself, create a little bit for others, right? He's a guy that right now I don't know what kind of role he'd get. I don't know if he's even going to play, period, just because of our guards, right? But I could see at some point this season him actually coming in, playing a role, and being a big piece for the Lakers this year. Especially if you end up trading like a Gabe Vincent or something, he may be able to kind of step in and play that role for you, who he has very similar size to Gabe Vincent, and already looks like a better shooter. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. But next up, sticking with the old guys, right, for rookie standards, is Dalton Knecht. I mean, first off, this guy was as high as top 5 on many draft boards. And for him to now drop all the way to 17th for the Lakers was a steal in and of itself. And then what we've seen him be able to do is fantastic. Right? If he becomes the guy that we kind of see him potentially being, Lakers are going to be very good. Right, him in that kind of Taurean Prince role, I do think can actually be better than what Taurean Prince was because of his athleticism, because of his skills to not only create for himself, but also make plays for others. Been very impressive in that regard as well. But a guy, more than anything, that can shoot over the top and operate in the mid-range. Right, Taurean Prince really wasn't great at that. He was kind of more just spot up three or put the ball on the deck and get to the basket, where, Knecht has more of an offensive arsenal that I think can go a long way. He's a guy that you can just envision playing alongside LeBron, AD, guys like that, D'Lo, and just creating for him. Like he's going to have an impact this year. What type of role? How much opportunity does he get? He's a guy that I could see winning Rookie of the Year. My only problem is I don't think he'll play the role and get the shot attempts and opportunity that, say, like a Zach Edey would, especially on Memphis, and how Memphis has really kind of played through him a lot at times. I just think he's going to get more opportunity, but Dalton Knecht, I think, will be second in line. Right? This is a guy that I think could give us at least double digits average off the bench this year. I know a lot of people already want him in the starting unit. I'd hold our horses a little bit there. Not saying that at some point this season he won't. He very well could move into the starting unit at some point, especially if he can continue to perform at the level that we've seen him be able to perform. But we need to see him be able to consistently put it together against starting units, actual high-end rotation guys. Can he defend well enough to kind of warrant him on the basketball court, right? Because if he's scoring 12 and giving up 20, then he's a liability out there on the court, right? Like that, those are the things that you got to kind of keep an eye on, right? Let the young buck come in, let him kind of build and grow, right? Like let him get his feet wet, let him get a feel for the game, let him kind of get used to the pace and the physicality, and kind of, let him go through his hiccups, right? He's going to have his good moments, he's going to have his bad moments, kind of allow him to do that, and then, when the time comes, if he's ready or seems ready, then boom, there you go, insert him in the starting unit and let's go, right? But he's a guy that he's looked special thus far through preseason and summer league, and if he can continue to translate that into the regular season, watch out. Lakers got an absolute steal. Armel Traore, he was the guy that I was most excited for. Obviously, I was super excited for Dalton Knecht. But Dalton Knecht, you knew. Right, if you were familiar with Dalton Knecht and familiar with his style of play, like you knew, okay, he's a guy that's going to come in and he's a guy that's going to have an immediate impact. He's a guy that's going to be able to play out the gate. The reason I was so excited about Armel Traore is because he was kind of a bit of an unknown. He also was undrafted, and he's a guy that just has all the tools, right? A lot of people say, like, man, Tyler, like, he reminds me so much of Jared Vanderbilt. And I understand that, right? Like, his size, his length, his defensive versatility. I mean, even in the Warriors game recently, we saw him. I mean, he was defending Pod and then switching on Buddy Hield and then defended Andrew Wiggins, going on down on Trace Jackson, right? Pause. Like all of those things, I think, like, has shown his defensive versatility. Doesn't have a bad looking shot. He's shown the ability to take guys off the dribble, beat guys off the dribble. Right? If he can just kind of develop that consistency as far as like the shooting goes, watch out. This dude, I can see him being like an OG-esque type player. OG Anunoby, right? New York Knicks. In the sense of like his size, his physicality, right? He's bigger and stockier than Jared Vanderbilt is, but he still moves really well. He can make plays, do a little bit of everything, but more so can defend 1 through 5 like OG, but also slot in really 3 through 5 on occasion. And I actually think Armel Traore would be better at the 5 than OG would be. Armel Traore has just got that size and that length and that big wingspan that goes a long way. He's a guy that I wouldn't be shocked, right? Dalton Knecht, I think, is going to be great. Max Christie, I am incredibly high on. I wouldn't be shocked if we look back and Armel Traore is one of our best players. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Armel Traore is like a OG or like a Pascal Siakam type player, right? Like, I mean, he's still very young. You can develop him for next 2-3 years, and he would just be the age of Knecht and guys like that. Like, he's a guy that I am incredibly high on and will continue to be high on. Hopefully, he can start taking those real strides on the offensive side. If he can put together it doesn't even have to be an elite offensive game. He can just put together a comparable offensive game. Like, he's gonna be good for the Lakers. But last up, Bronny James. If this was any other 55th pick and it wasn't LeBron's son, the narrative and the conversation would be so much different for Bronny. He had his best game as a Laker in that previous game, and him and Olivari were the only 2 guys that really showed up. I was very disappointed in Jalen Schifino. I don't really want to get into that. I talked about it in the video after the game, and I want to kind of keep this on the rookies, right? The guys coming in. But, like, I was disappointed in guys like that because that was a real opportunity for them to step up. And who was the guy that stepped up? It was Bronny James. Bronny James is not an NBA player yet, which is fine. He's the 55th pick. He's not supposed to be. He's supposed to be a development guy. He's incredibly young, incredibly hardworking. Like if people saw anybody else working as hard as we see Bronny working, we'd be talking about like, oh, we got a beast. He's got that Mamba mentality. He's got this. He's got that. Look at that defense. Man, but it's because it's Bronny's kid. Everyone's like, oh, he's trash. He's washed. He doesn't even deserve a roster spot, blah, blah, blah. It's silly. He's on the roster and he got a contract, not because he's LeBron's son, but because of the new CBA. Other teams were willing to draft him. Other teams wanted to draft him. Reports are still coming out of teams that wanted to draft him, but then it ultimately decided to respect LeBron. The Warriors wanted to draft him and really liked him and thought he would be great. And out of respect to LeBron, decided not to take him, right? Like, Phoenix Suns wanted to draft. Phoenix talked about drafting him in the first round, right? Like, he's a development guy. Everyone knew he was a development guy, but he has the tools. You've seen the flashes, which is what you want to see. Like, he doesn't have to be a superstar. Not everyone has to be a superstar. Sometimes you need those grit and grind guys. You need the guys that are willing to sacrifice their body, the guys that are willing to play the defense. Right? If he can be even a Gabe Vincent, Dennis Schroeder type guy, that's great. Point of attack, pest on the defense side, knock down the three ball. Right? Like, perfect. There's nothing, like, he doesn't have to be, SGA. Right? Like, I mean, if best case scenario, he becomes like a Derek White or like a Drew Holiday type, that is massive. If Lakers had Drew Holiday or Derek White right now, they might win a championship. Right? Like, if Bronny James can evolve into that, like, neither of those guys are a superstar. Neither of those guys are stars or anything. They're blue chip, grade A role players that every team in the league would love to have. And Bronny James can even become close to that. Like, that's great. Even if he's like lower tier, like a George Hill type, right? Like, that's fine. Gabe Vincent, like I mentioned. Like, he doesn't have to necessarily be a superstar. He was the 55th pick in the draft. No one has ever in the history of basketball expected a 55th pick to be anything more than a guy that's going to be out of the league in 2 years. Right? Like, that's usually how it goes. Have there been outliers? Have there been exceptions? Of course. But those are so far and few between. I mean, for every one that actually becomes even like a serviceable role player, there's hundreds of them that never become anything. Again, he's the 55th pick in the draft. The Lakers did very well this draft. You got your two development guys in Bronny James and Armel Traore that have plenty of upside, good athleticism, good tools, good intangibles. And then you got the two immediate impact guys in Olivari as well as Dalton Knecht, right? So that's a home run draft, in my opinion. That is great, in my opinion. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with my points? Disagree with my points? Are you kind of in the middle with it? No, who was your favorite draft pick? No, how would you rank them as far as your favorites for me down in the comments? But anyway, again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.